What happens when you paint one drawing in four completely different styles? Today, I'm taking on that challenge by painting the same eye using color pencils, watercolor, oil paint, and charcoal. Stick around until the end to see which one turns out the best and let me know which is your favorite. First of all, color pencils. Color pencils are perfect for building up layers gradually. I always start with the lightest shades first, and then slowly add depth by layering darker tones on top. Blending is the key here. It takes patience, but it creates a smooth, realistic effect. The beauty of color pencils is in their control and precision. You can capture tiny details like eyelashes or subtle color variations in the iris with incredible accuracy. The challenge, though, is avoiding harsh lines or patchiness. Just keep it smooth and even. By the end, you get a polished, realistic result that's vibrant yet delicate. Okay, number 2 would be watercolor. Watercolor is completely different. It's unpredictable and fluid. Instead of controlling every mark, you have to let the water and pigment interact on the paper. I start with a light wash to block the general shapes and tones, then gradually add layers for depth. The real magic happens when the colors blend naturally, creating soft transitions you can't achieve with other mediums. But it's also challenging because there's no easy way to erase mistakes. Once the paint spreads, you have to work with it, not against it. For this eye, I focused on subtle blending in the iris and the smooth gradients in the skin around it. Now, let's start with oil paints. Oil paint is rich, vibrant, and bold. It has a texture that makes every brush stroke feel alive. Unlike watercolor or pencils, oil paint dries slowly, which can be both blessing and a curse. The slow drying time lets you keep blending and adjusting for hours, creating incredibly smooth transitions between light and shadow. But it also requires patience and, yes, a bit of cleanup, which is the hardest part for me. I hate washing brushes. For this piece, I'm focusing on the depth of the shadows and the intense highlights in the eye to really make it pop. There's something very satisfying about working with such a physical, tactile medium. Painting eyelashes while the previous layers are still wet was a nightmare. So, to create the right texture for hairs, I did something different. I used a sharp wooden stick and created baby hairs by scraping up the paint while it was still wet. And let me tell you, it was so fun. Now for the last but not the least, charcoal. Charcoal is one of the most expressive and dramatic mediums you can work with. It's raw, it's bold, and it strips everything down to just light and shadow. No color, no distractions. I always start with broad dark strokes to map out the shapes and proportions. There's something so satisfying about that first moment when the paper comes alive with these rich blacks. At this stage, I'm not worried about tiny details. It's all about confident movements and establishing the foundation. Once the basic shapes are in place, I began to build up layers of depth. Charcoal is amazing for this because you can go from the deepest, darkest blacks to the softest grays simply by adjusting pressure and blending techniques. For blending, I use a weird combination of tools like Q-tips, a piece of paper or paper towel, or sometimes even my finger. This stage is where the piece really starts to take on the sense of realism or atmosphere. Then comes my favorite part, adding highlights. Instead of drawing highlights directly, I actually erase parts of the charcoal to reveal the light areas beneath. This reverse technique works beautifully for details. It's almost like sculpting, removing material to reveal the form within. For me, this medium always feels the most dramatic because every mark has weight and meaning. The finished result isn't just a drawing, it's a play between light and darkness. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe and share it with someone who loves art. I've got more exciting challenges and tutorials coming up, so stay tuned for the next one. Bye!